think I found a good place to wind down and enjoy this beautiful view, even though it's cloudy. You've got to see the good in everything. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of On Purpose by Lynn. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Lynn and I share with you everything you need to know about personal development and spirituality so that you can create your best life and so that you can rise to your fullest potential. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. In this episode, I will be talking about how you can heal your emotional triggers. When you're going through a spiritual awakening, you'll be going through a phase in which you'll be going to heal all of your emotional triggers, all of the things, your past karma, all of the things that have accumulated within your soul that life will show you you'll need to heal. So don't be scared away that you are reacting, that you are having these emotional triggers, because there is a reason behind it. And for that, we can also heal them. They're showing up in your life because they need to be healed. So if you're interested in learning more about that and how you can once and for good end these emotional triggers, then stay around. So before I'm going to dive into how you can heal your emotional triggers, I will be explaining a little bit to why these emotional triggers are showing up in your life and what's the purpose behind them. On a soul level, we have lessons to be learned here on planet Earth. And usually those lessons will show up in some kind of challenge, in some kind of trigger within your life. Because without the contrast, there wouldn't be spiritual growth. There wouldn't be growth for you as a person. So where there's light, there is dark. Where there's yes, there's no. Where there's death, there's life. This contrast we need to understand is there for us to grow. And it's there because it's supposed to be there. So all the challenges that you are facing, they're supposed to be there and they're supposed to teach you something so that once you've mastered that lesson, it will no longer come back. You rise above it and you can rise your vibration, you can transcend that lesson as a soul, as a human being. So knowing that, these challenges can come up in multiple ways. They can come in the form of friends and family. They can come in the form of things that have to deal with wealth and poverty, that have to deal with love, all kinds of levels that we can face challenges in. And honestly, I have been going through that a lot in my spiritual awakening. And I'm still going through that. I'm healing a lot of emotional triggers that are being exposed to me by life. Life is showing me what needs to be healed. So if you're not yet going through that, don't panic. You don't have to figure out what your lessons are. You don't have to figure out what needs to be healed and where that's coming from. Why? Because life will show it to you in divine timing. But if you are now faced with triggers, you must know that these triggers are not very comfortable and it's very hard to deal with. It can cause a lot of anxiety, it can cause a lot of stress, can cause you to feel overwhelmed and fearful. And all of that is supposed to be there, so find peace with that. You're not dying, you're just waking up and you are learning your lessons through facing these challenges. And the sooner that we face these challenges, the sooner we deal with it, the earlier we can free ourselves from learning the lessons. We can free ourselves from these triggering emotions. And therefore, we'll have to heal them. We'll have to know what these lessons are, what are these triggers, what is it pointing out, what is it teaching you. And by knowing that, we can fully understand and start working with it. So the first way how you can recognize what your emotional triggers are is by observing your thoughts and by observing your reaction. When you are exposed to certain situations and events in your life, it can cause you to react. It can cause you to feel triggered emotionally, to really feel triggered by everything that's the lesson that you're faced with. For me, those were also very deep lessons that I had to learn and that I'm still learning today. And that's okay, it's a process, and we need to understand that it's not something that you can delete out of your life in one moment of healing. Usually these emotional triggers, they come very deep, very rooted from our youth, from this life, perhaps past lives. And so we have to understand that these roots, you can see it as a tree, and a tree is very rooted within the ground. Sometimes you have multiple roots in the ground that are these connections to the lesson that you have to learn. And everything that had to deal with that lesson, all the trauma and the situations that you were exposed to when you were younger or maybe later on in life, that needs to purge out. So you have to understand that once you're faced with these lessons, it wants to purge out of you. It wants to be released. And it's a process that takes longer than just one day or one evening. So it's a process. Keep that in mind. So number one is to observe your thoughts and your reactions when you're exposed to certain triggering events and situations in your life. Once you can identify what is being triggered within you, you can ask yourself, what within me is being triggered and why? And really have an honest look to yourself in the mirror, because whatever triggers us in our external world tells us that something within us isn't healed yet. For someone to push your button, it means there was a button that you created in the first place that was able to be pushed. So keep that in mind, that your reality is a mirror of who you are, and therefore if you are being triggered by a situation, it means that there's something within you that needs to be healed. So when we have identified what it is and we know why, what in us needs to be healed, we can now start working with it, because we know what it's coming from and we know what it is within us. For me, rejection was a really big part that I was working through, and that I'm still nowadays working through. Sometimes I feel like I've totally already learned the lesson, and then sometimes something in my reality pops up and I really discover that it wasn't truly healed yet, and that's okay. But as you move through this process, you'll see that it becomes easier and easier, and you as a person will become stronger and stronger, and therefore you will feel so much victory. You will feel so much better. The lessons that need to be learned aren't easy. It's uncomfortable, but allow yourself to love yourself all the way through it, because it's incredibly courageous of you to look at yourself in the mirror and to be honest with yourself and roll with yourself and to love your way through that process. Because once you've learned these lessons, you'll feel so free. You'll feel like you are empowered. You're able to ground better within your body, within your life, and you will feel as if you are completely independent from everything that's happening around you. And you're solid, you're there, you're grounded, and you're standing with two legs on the ground. So when you start working with it, what I really love to do, once I've noticed what it is, and once I've observed my reaction, once I've observed what is happening within me, I am very aware that I can start rewriting my story, because usually the story that's being triggered, we are filled with stories. That's what actually makes up our ego, is stories. Our identity is the stories we tell ourselves. Our perception of our life, the way that we see it, is based on the beliefs that we have of ourselves. If we change our story, we can change our perception, and by changing our perception, we change our reality, because perception equals reality. How we perceive things is what we will experience as real. So we can rewrite our story. I love journaling. I love journaling for so many things, but this is one of the things that I do. The practices is I write down my old story, and then once I've written my old story, I cross it out. I cross it out and I rewrite my new story in the way that I want to see it, the way that I want to experience it. I end it with affirmations. It is a very powerful way to reprogram your mind, and if you can repeat that for 21 days, as always, you will see that you're literally starting to change your reality as you're changing your belief system. So rewriting your story. Rewrite your story. Rewrite your story in the way that you wish to see it, in the way you wish to feel, in the way you wish to be. Not necessarily on how it will look, but how you will feel as a person, because feelings manifest in things that symbolize that feeling. So when you can become really clear on how you want to feel, how you want to deal with people in your life, what kind of relationships you wish to have, how you would like to be as a person. Maybe you like to be more confident, maybe you'd like to be more authentic, maybe you'd like to be more fearless. All these things, you can write them down and really be specific, because the more specific that we are, the more specific we're creating the reality that we want to create. Clarity is power. Now, so the fourth step of doing this story is just to let it go. Let go of that story by sitting with it, feeling it, and give yourself the time and space to release it out of your body. Give your body the space to feel what it wants to feel without you rejecting that, without you wanting to instantly feel better or snap out of that. We have to accept that these challenges, they are there, and our body is showing us how it wants to feel and how it wants to release that. So if you can give yourself the space and the time to really sit with these challenges, to sit what wants to come through, to sit with what wants to purge out of you, let it. It's really important that you are holding space for yourself to let go of these low vibrations, to let go of these emotions, to let go of all the trauma. And it's a process, so be gentle with yourself. These 4 steps are the ways that you can identify, the ways you can work with your energy, and the way how you can hold space for yourself so that your body can do the work that it's supposed to do. If you have liked this video, make sure to click that like button so that this video will be pushed out to anyone who is going through spiritual awakening and who is healing themselves in this process. And let me know in the comments what you are currently going through, how you are purging that out. We are transcending to higher frequencies, we are transcending into different times, which is incredible. So let us know, support other people in this community. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe, as you will be the first to watch all of my videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so that you can create the life that you deserve to live. Remember, we have such an exciting future to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Bye for now.